not pulling out the reverse forehand, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And I'm talking about power, I'm talking about spin, I'm talking about angles. If a little guy like this can do it, look, so can you. And we're going to talk to you about why it's easier than you think and how you can attack from everywhere on the court. What's going on? It's Steven with 15 Points in Tennis, and today we're going to talk about the reverse forehand, also known as the Rafa. Okay, and so basically, instead of finishing on the right side of your body here, right, you're going to finish on the same side of your body, bringing it up the opposite way. And so how did this come to be? All right, back in the day, I think I was 13, 14 years old. Okay, this was when Rafa was on the rise. This is the first time when he was challenging King Fed to dethrone him, not only at the French Open, but at Wimbledon, and be the best player in the world.
It's long, and Rafael Nadal, a man for all surfaces. He is number one.
And so there's this big trend of hitting massive amount of topspin. And there are players who hit topspin before, but there is never a player who consistently finished on the same side of their body like Nadal. He'd bring it up on the same side of the body on almost every shot, and this caught a lot of attention. When I was back in 14s, like I was part of this topspin trend, and you know what? I used to use this racket. You're probably thinking it's a different racket than I normally use. We used to call it the Bumblebee, right? And this is what Nadal used, the Arrow Pro series, and it's pretty similar, right? It's longer width-wise than length-wise, and that allowed me to swing more low to high, and again, I had more margin for error when I hit topspin, right? Versus you see some of the smaller heads could drive the ball flat, but I'd hit heavy topspin, and I'd use a reverse forehand so often, kick the ball up high to my opponents. They have trouble hitting these high balls. It helped me really stay in the point because it's really hard to attack a ball with a lot of topspin that's kicking up out of your strike zone. Now, this gave me opportunities, short balls, floaters, etc. And in theory, you're supposed to hit a flat hammer shot with a Western grip. I had a Western grip back then. You're supposed to hit a flat hammer shot to put the point away. I didn't have that shot. Let me link that video. If you don't have the hammer shot, it's no use just hitting spin all the time without being able to put the point away. Okay, but that's besides the point. The reverse forehand was critical for me when I was young, and here's why. Have you ever started a match and felt really nervous? And when you started the match, you're really nervous, maybe you're even not shaking a little bit, but even mentally shaking a little bit. And even just feeding a ball, even your first couple strokes, you lost feeling in your wrist. Like even when you fed the ball, it was like a little wobbly. Well, there's a science behind it. And essentially, when you experience fear, nervousness, anxiety, all under that same umbrella, what happens is your body has a physiological response. The blood rushes out of your smaller muscles and into your bigger muscles. So your body's blood rushes into your torso, your legs, because 10,000 years ago, when we were running around in the savannas, we'd see a lion. We needed a fight or flight response. We need to get out of there and save ourselves from impending danger. Now, when we're on the tennis court, this doesn't help us because in tennis, when you hit a tennis ball, you need your fine motor skills. Okay, and that's why you see, if you ever watch the Olympics swimming, before a big race, you see them all shaking out like this, shaking their wrists, and they're trying to, again, engage their smaller muscles and feel their smaller muscles that have been disengaged from this effect, right? And so what the reverse forehand allows you to do is when you hit the ball, you're using so much bicep. Again, bicep controls the elbow, forearm controls the wrist. You're using so much bicep and wrist to snap the racket and bring it up on the opposite side of your body. That will really help. I wouldn't say relax you, but it'll help you loosen up a tight swing that will help you engage those smaller muscles. Okay, so at the beginning of the match, I mean, I was nervous when I was 13, 14. I didn't know how to handle my emotions, my emotional state on the court, and know how to focus and think. But this mechanism allowed me, and sure, maybe I'd shank a few to start the match. It really helped me get in the groove, loosen up my swing, okay, and relax a little bit. Help me snap the ball, feel those muscles. Now, what are the benefits to the reverse forehand? Well, first of all, look, if you have a Western grip, your strings are naturally pointed down anyways, right? So a lot of times when you play players who hit the ball hard, low, flat, or with slice, you need to get under the ball somehow. This is out of necessity. So if you have a Western grip, a lot of times most Western grips are going to be pulling a reverse forehand on a lot of the low balls, or just in general more reverse forehands. But when you watch the racket path here, when at contact, I'm able to get the strings facing just the sky just a little bit more to get that ball up and down. Okay, now you see it on the semi-western as well. Eastern grip, you can see it as well. You see how Eastern actually the strike zone moves back a little bit here, boom, versus the Western's out here more, boom, right? But you're bringing it so vertical with this vertical snap, you can get under the ball to get it up and down. Okay, now it's great when you want to create more spin, you're swinging more vertical, you're attacking the low ball. Hey, we call it, you can really rough the ball when it's low on the approach, right? Attacking a slice. Where in the demo we're going to show you how you can really lay into the slice when normally it's a shot that you wouldn't be able to attack. Okay, there are a number of reasons to do this. Now, a lot of people get really overly focused on exactly where the finish is. So, are you finishing over your shoulder? Are you finishing on this side of the head? Well, my philosophy on the finishing, it doesn't really, I don't even care where you finish. And here's why. Every ball is different. There are different heights, different spins, different power levels you're swinging at. So every finish is going to look a little bit different. Some is going to be more around your body. Some is going to be less. Some is going to be shorter, right? And so don't worry about the racket finish as much. Don't worry at all. Be more aware about the racket path. Okay, so on the reverse forehand, you're swinging more vertical here. So follow the racket path more closely, and the angle at contact. Are my strings down more? Are my strings open more? Right? Because once you get a vertical swing plane, your finish, again, the finish is a byproduct of the racket plane. If you're swinging more vertical, you're going to finish on this side of your body anyways. Okay, I can be swinging more across my body here, but I would normally finish over my shoulder, but you see Fed a lot of times on a passing shot, why I get so low that boom, it looks like a reverse finish because the racket path is just continuing on that same plane, but he's just getting lower. So boom, it looks like a reverse finish, and you can hit that ball flatter per se, right? I mean, so there is a lot of variation. So don't focus on the exact finish as much. Focus on, again, engaging these two muscles, bang, right, in the racket path. Now, to illustrate my point, Fed could have brought this over his shoulder instead of a reverse forehand, but he's staying low and just letting the racket finish where it may. We're going to show you other clips in the next few minutes. So lastly, remember this. Look, when you're out there using the reverse forehand, for most cases for you, it will just be situational, okay? When a low ball out wide here, boom, when you just pull it straight up. Now for every player, it looks different, right? So even, let's say with Juan Martín del Potro with the Eastern grip, he will still use a reverse forehand every now and then. But because he's using more of a shoulder swing, and we'll talk about the difference between a shoulder versus a more wrist and bicep dominated swing, because he's using more of a shoulder swing here, his will still be flatter, right? Whereas if you look at if Jack Sock hits a reverse forehand, because he's more bicep wrist dominant, here he has so much wrist whip, there's going to be a lot more spin, and he's hitting it slightly closer to his body. So, go out there, experiment. We're going to roll into the drills, okay? We'll show you how this works. Maybe it'll help you visualize what balls you think in your mind you want to punish for this. So as you practice this could, again, just be situational for you, where you only hit some shots, or you can continue to work this as a substantial part of your game and your repertoire. The fact that reverse forehand is different for everyone. You're going to see two upcoming forehands that are a little flatter and penetrating.
Too good. Into the net, and then Federer makes him pay.
Now Fed's going to take the same forehand, pull it a little more vertical to get a Rafa-like effect for more angle and spin.
I mean, it's all on. I mean, whatever Federer touches right now finds the spot.
Alright, so now we're back to normal people hitting the reverse forehand. I'm not beating the ball super hard, but I am hitting the ball with a little bit of slice spin. And again, for most players who either don't want to bend their knees or want to be able to punish this ball with a decent amount of margin and not take a whole ton of risk, again, that's why we use this forehand to get a little bit more up and down action, a little bit more spin, and activate the smaller muscles to get a little bit more acceleration and racket head speed using the tip of the racket. And that's a great shot, that low one. So again, the really low ones, the somewhat low ones, you can actually hit even a little flatter. Alright, but now here's some open stance forehands with the reverse finish. And don't modify the rest of your forehand, because essentially the reverse forehand is just changing a little modification on the finish to be able to do shots like that. Okay, low balls, wide balls, etc. But you're still using your kinetic chain. We talked about in the online accelerator program or any of the other videos. You're still using all the other same fundamentals, so don't think it's a completely new forehand. And so look, this is not just drills. You can use this. This is super practical, right? So you just saw two reverse forehands. Now back to his regular forehand. This should integrate into your game seamlessly. Now, you're going to see one here just like you saw with Fed. One with a little bit more spin and brush like on that one when the ball's low. Now, he swings more through that shot because the ball's coming back flatter. So this forehand can be modified to your liking depending on what shot you're hitting and what desired effect. A lot of the balls a student hits are flat. Well, that's a slap shot. Alright, so thanks so much for watching. I want you to comment below actually right now. Tell me what you think about the Rafael Nadal reverse forehand, whether you've used it, whether it's working for you. I also want you to comment below on your current biggest sticking point. I'm going to have another few videos coming out over the next month or so. So I want to hear from you to see what your guys' issues are. Now, help me out. I'd love for you to be part of the 15 Points of Tennis family. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. I'll see you guys on the next one.